breaking news out of the Middle East here right now. I wanted to put up this post on your screen.
So the United States is threatening war. Iran says it is ready to fight. And the most obvious question is this: can Iran sustain a war against the US? How prepared is Tehran if Trump indeed orders his troops to attack? Because a war with the United States may not be brief, it would involve intense fighting and it would span multiple fronts. A war with the US will test Iran's military, its economy and its diplomatic ties. So tonight we will look at how Iran is placed on all these fronts. And we'll start with military preparedness. Iran has a strong army. They're equipped with serious firepower. They have one of the biggest missile and drone arsenals in West Asia. Some of their missiles can travel up to 2,000 kilometers. They can target US bases within the region, including in Israel. Iran has the capability to conduct targeted strikes well beyond its immediate borders. In fact, they're threatening to strike US bases in West Asia if the Americans attack.
I also have an advice for the delusional president of the United States. Be careful that the advice you are receiving about attacking Iran are the same as the ones who told you that Mashhad has fallen. Therefore, so that you are not miscalculating, know that in case of an attack on Iran, the occupied lands as well as U.S. military bases in the region will be our legitimate targets. And with all these clear confessions that you made about invading Iran, we will not limit ourselves to a reaction. We will act based on signs of threats. It was necessary to say this to you and all your allies in the region to avoid miscalculation, otherwise it'll be too late to regret.
Iran also has a big stockpile of drones like the Shahid series. These are battle-tested drones. They've been used by Russia in the Ukraine war. They were also spotted in the Sudan conflict. And what about actual troops? How big is Iran's military? There are around 580,000 active duty personnel, 580,000, and some 200,000 in the reserves. This makes Iran one of the biggest militaries in the region. These troops are split into wings. One is the regular military, the second is the IRGC, the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps. This is Iran's elite military force. They have only one job: to protect the regime. The IRGC is responsible for operations both within Iran and outside. They also control Iran's proxies in the region, groups like Hamas in Gaza, Hezbollah in Lebanon, and the Houthis in Yemen. The IRGC controls them. So going just by the numbers, Iran does look strong. But these numbers alone do not guarantee endurance or a favorable outcome. Because in recent years, Iran has suffered a string of military setbacks too. These setbacks have weakened Iranian defenses. Last year, Tehran had to appoint new senior commanders after Israel wiped out 20 of them. Israel unleashed airstrikes and killed Iran's top military leadership. Among the casualties was Hossein Salami. He was the commander-in-chief of the IRGC. He was killed during the 12-day war in June last year, 2025. The US too had joined Israel in this war. They had bombed Iran's nuclear facilities. Apart from this, Israel also demolished most of Iran's proxy network, like the Hamas and the Hezbollah. Israel fought a 2-year-long war in Gaza and hit Hamas hard. During the same war, Israel also struck Hezbollah in Lebanon and took out its key leaders. All of this has narrowed Iran's military options. So to sum it up, Iran does have a military that can fight, but its effectiveness is in doubt. And then we have Iran's economy. It is far weaker, barely capable of sustaining a war. In fact, this is what triggered the current crisis in the first place. Iran's currency, the rial, collapsed. It fell to 1.47 million to the US dollar. It was this collapse that sparked this wave of protests. Shopkeepers took to the streets after their margins vanished and their businesses became unviable. And soon the public anger spread. The economic crisis is hitting every Iranian. Inflation is well above 40%. Prices of essential goods have risen sharply. Take cooking oil, for example. Cooking oil prices in Iran have risen by 133%. Eggs, their prices have shot up by 125%. Chicken by 70%. And rice has gone up by 25%. These numbers are punishing. A war would make them much worse. In simple words, Iran's economy will implode under the strain of a war. But can it count on international support? Will Iran's diplomatic partners support it in the event of a war? And support it to what extent? Iran's allies like China and Russia have slammed Trump for threatening war. Just today, Moscow issued a statement of support. This is what they said.
We simply need to work and to implement the agreements achieved between Russia and Iran, as well as all other economical partners. When such a powerful country like U.S. acts by these dirtier methods, it means only one thing. The U.S. competitive position is steadily worsening.
Regional powers like Turkey and Qatar have also expressed concerns. So no one wants a war, but will they actively push back or just issue statements? The case of Venezuela does not inspire confidence. When Trump attacked Venezuela and had their president abducted, global powers could do little. All they offered were statements. And Iran would have noted that with concern. It would know that words of support may not translate into meaningful action, which is why Tehran has also been dropping hints. It says it is ready to talk. Earlier this week, Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi addressed global diplomats in Tehran. He said Iran is not seeking war, but it is prepared to fight one. So Tehran is signaling that there is room for dialogue. But it all depends on whether the other side is willing to listen.